Lesson 7.4, Fractions, Decimals, and Percents. A circle graph is a type of graph that represents data as parts of a circle. For example 1, write the percent as the decimal. When we start with a percentage, remember in order to write it as a decimal, we move it 2 places to the left. So when you start as a percent and you want to change it to a decimal, it's 2 places to the left. Essentially what you're doing is you're dividing by 100, and you'll get 0.0048. That is 48, 10 thousandths. 175%, the decimal point is at the end, so you move it 2 spaces, 1, 2, and you have 1.75. 3.6, move it 1, 2, add the 0, you have 0.036, 36 thousandths. To write a decimal as percent, so going from a decimal to a percent, it's 2 spaces to the right. 1, 2. 1.09 is 109%, and then add the percent sign. 0.312 becomes 30%. So 0.30 becomes 30%. Please try 1 through 8. Remember, if you're going from a percent to a decimal, it's 2 places to the left. Decimal to percent, it's 2 places to the right. Number 1, you want to make it a percent. So we're going to move 2 places to the right, 78%. Number 2 is 50%. Number 3, add that 0, and you have 920%. Number 4 is 40.1%. This time we're going to go in reverse, and you want to write the percent as a decimal and as a fraction. Remember, to write a percent as a fraction, you put the percentage over 100. So 92 over 100, and then you can simplify. And the decimal would be 0.92. And again, this is 92 over 100 is simplified to 23 over 25. Move the decimal point, 2.06. It's 206 over 100, which becomes 103 over 50. 712.475, and that is 475 over 100. We simplify it to 19 over 40. 47.5 over 100. Make sure you have that decimal point. This is 0.8 over 100 as a fraction, or 0.008, 8 thousandths, as a decimal. For example 3, we're going to write a percent as a fraction. We just talked about how to do this before. So you take the 0.48 and you put it over the percentage. Now, your calculator will not simplify this fraction for you until you get rid of the decimal point in the numerator. So to do that, I'm going to multiply by the place value, and that is where the 8 is, which is a hundredths. So I'm going to multiply by 100. Because I did that in the numerator, I have to do it in the denominator. So this is actually 48 over 10 thousandths. Put that in the calculator to simplify, and you get 3 over 625. Part B is 175 over 100. This time I could just simplify it by dividing by this common factor. you get 7 over 4, which simplifies to 1 3/4. 3.6 over 100. Remember, in order to put this in the calculator, I need to multiply by the place value, which is in this case is 10. So you have 36 over 1,000, which is 9 over 250. In example 4, we're writing a fraction as a percent. The circle graph at the right shows the results of a survey of what 400 students prefer to order for breakfast at a restaurant. What percent of students prefer to order pancakes? Right now they're just telling me the number of students out of the 400 that prefer each type of breakfast. So to write the fraction of students who prefer to order pancakes, you need to write a percent proportion with 180 over 40. Why 180? Because that's how many prefer pancakes out of the 400 students that were surveyed. Again, we are writing a percent proportion, so it's 180 out of 40 equals P over 100. I like to do the cross products at this point, so I'm going to do my cross products. Or you can multiply each side by 100, divide by 400, zeros cancel, you get 45. So 45% prefer to order pancakes. So this is 45%. When you could do this for each type of breakfast food. So you could do the eggs was 96 over 400, set equal to P over 100 to find the percent. And once you get all the percentages, that should equal 100% because the circle graph represents all of the data. Write these fractions as a percent. First of all, we need to write, and I'll do number 9 for you, and then you can do the rest on your own. First of all, we need to write 7/10 as a decimal. So we can bring down the 7. 10 goes into 7 0 times, add a 0, bring up the decimal point. It is going to be 0.7. Now to write it as a percent, we move it over 2 spaces to the right. 70% is your answer. Please pause the video and try 10, 11, and 12 by yourself. 25 goes to 11 0 times, put the decimal point, put the 0. I'm going to say 4, that's 100. You have 10, add a 0, bring down the 0, another 4. So it's 44, move it 2 places, 44%. Number 11, 50 into 3. Goes in 0, add the 0, it's another 0. Now we get to 300. 300 goes in 6 times, exactly. So this is 1, 2, 6%. 7/8, add the decimal point, bring it up, add a 0. Subtract, add a 0. Subtract again, add a 0, and you're at 5. 1, 2, 87.5%. In example 5, we're going to order the fractions, decimals, and percents. In order to do that, we need to write the numbers as decimals with the same number of decimal places. So let's start by changing 7/20 into a decimal, and it's going to be 0.35, and we're going to add a 0, and I'll tell you why in a second. Because 3.5 is already a decimal, and we're going to change it to add 2 zeros at the end. And here's why. Because in 3.5%, when we change it to a decimal, it is going to be 0.035, and that's going to be 3 decimal places. So because that is 3 places, that means that all of these need to be 3 places as well. Now that we do that, we can compare the decimals. I'm going to do it a little bit differently than the book shows you. I'm actually going to line up my decimal points. I'm going to be as neat as possible to keep the decimal points in line, and to keep each number in its own column. Now that I know this, I can see that in the whole number place, the ones place, this is a 3, and 3 is going to be the biggest. In the tenths place, the smallest is 0.035. So this is going to be, let's see, least to greatest. So this is going to be the first one, this is going to be the third, and that's going to be the second. They compare it by using inequality symbols. So the number is ordered from least to greatest. Remember to go back to the original numbers. So that's going to be your 3.5%. 2 is going to be your 7/20ths. And this is going to be your 3.5. So 3.5%, 7/20ths, and 3.5. You can also check or do this at the beginning by using a number line to order the decimals. We're going to skip 14 and 15, but I would like you to do 13. Order the numbers from least to greatest. Remember, you keep them as same decimal number of places. If you have to add zeros at the end, please do. 4/25ths turns to a decimal of 0.16. I'm going to add a 0 because that has 3 places, so this needs to have 3 places. 1.5 is 1, 2, so 0.015. I'm going to line up the decimal points. We can see that the first one is going to be your 1.5%. Now the second one, look at the tens place is the same, the hundreds place is the same, it's the thousands place where it's different, and the 0 is less. So we're going to put that second. That's your 4/25ths. And then you're going to have your last one, which is 165 thousandths.